Good morning. I am Jeremy with the design team here at Cost Cutters, and we're going to be demonstrating a baby light technique using both a highlighting and a low lighting at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to work right here on the front left quadrant of the hair, and we're going to work mostly at a diagonal angle this way so that we can really kind of bring that to accentuate the face as the hair lays in natural fall. So what we do is we have it sectioned out for our front quadrant here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very small half-inch section right over the ear, making sure my partings are clean, keeping with kind of a diagonal parting because I'm going to be working up towards the crown. So we move all of the hair out of the way. Now out of this half-inch section, because again we want to do baby lights, so we want them to be fairly subtle, I'm actually going to split that in half again so that I'm only taking about a 1/4 inch section altogether. Then using a fine weaving technique, you just kind of bounce the comb right through the hair, grab the top, comb this out of your way. We have our foil and we have our section that we're going to be lightening here. So we'll take our foil, I fold it right down over the top just like that, nice and tight. I bring it right up into that hair, hold the hair good and taut, but don't pull it out of her head as she'll scream. We yank the tail out, we grab our lightener. I start just a little bit below and kind of just lightly touch up towards till about the last 1/8 of an inch to the top of that foil. This allows for the lightener to swell without us having to worry about getting bleeding in that section of hair that's close to the scalp. So then we just pull everything through, even saturation. Once we have it on there, I use the flat foiling technique, which we take another piece of foil, slide that on there. I hold them together and then I just take my comb and lightly press it so that it seals that pocket together.
I noticed you were using a metal rat tail. Is there any other options as far as tools?
There is other options for that. You can use a regular rat tail comb. The difference is in the size difference. So the regular rat tail comb is going to have a width that tapers off from an 1/8 of an inch up to a 1/4 of an inch width. With your pintail comb, that stays constant at an 1/8 of an inch all the way down. So you're going to be able to make smaller, more precise partings with your pintail comb, which is going to allow you to do a finer weave and get more of a very soft, subtle look. Even if you're doing a heavy highlight, but with the baby lights techniques, it still keeps it soft and subtle and more diffused so that you're not creating any hard line of demarcation as it grows out.
And one other question too, as far as your subsections, how do you determine how big those are going to be?
That is all going to be based upon your consultation with your client and determining as far as what the overall outcome of the look it is you're trying to go for. So what we've determined here through our consultation is we want to kind of have a good balance between highlight and low light. So what we're doing is I'm actually doing a one on top of the other kind of technique. So where my first section I made a 1/2 inch, then split it in half and took the top section. My next section for my low light, because I really want those highlights to kind of pop but still be subtle at the same time, I'm actually only going to take a 1/4 inch parting now for my low light section. We move this hair up out of the way because we don't need it yet. Comb through it, and I'm actually just going to fine weave this whole section, separate it, and we'll foil in the lowlights because the lowlights that I'm using is a level 3, which is a dark brown. And what that's going to do is that's going to lay a little closer to the highlight to really kind of allow those highlights to pop just a little bit more. So the way we're doing this technique today is we're using a 1/2 inch parting for the highlights that we split in half, and then right over the top of that with our lowlights, we're using just a 1/4 inch parting so that it stays close to that highlight so those colors really bounce off of one another once its processing is done.
Okay, excellent job.